You know, as we said going in, it was the next game. It was a home game. We've been saying every week, so it's really a conference championship game for us, and that's how we wanted to treat it. I know offensively we felt like we had some things to prove after the El Paso game, and once again, give those guys credit. They played us really, really well. Early in the week, you know, AJ had kind of been bunged up from the North Texas game. We talked about that, allowed Tyler to go in, and you know, it's one of those things where we practiced with him all week, and we just never, you know, he never could really feel good about his shoulder and throwing, and we decided probably midway through the week, and AJ was part of that process for me and Coach Vincent, that we were going to go with Tyler. Made the announcement to the offense on Friday, and kind of goes without saying what a great game he had. The offensive line, the tight ends, receivers, the blocking, the running by Spencer, the great protection, the throws, just a really terrific night for him. And just like have been so proud of AJ, could not be more proud of Tyler. And really just how he's handled himself this whole time that he's been here, and what a class act. You know, he comes to prepare every day. He treats every day like it's he's the starter, and I think it showed in his performance. So I think the offense should be, you know, it's obviously the whole group should be commended for how well they played against what I thought was a good defense coming in. And just really proud of them. Defensively, another great effort. You know, obviously the one thing we look at is points allowed, and they're doing a great job. You know, of course, it's all week to week. You know, it's all about what we do this upcoming week. But you know, looking back to last week, very proud of them. Thought they played really well. Good team defense. Had a big stop down on the goal line with a forced turnover. And then special teams, you know, another big night in special teams. Vogel's kicking the ball really well, had a big field goal, and all the touchbacks he's creating really just makes it so much easier for our coverage team. And then, of course, the big block punt, Garrett Prince, who's a guy that's getting to take advantage of the 4-game redshirt rule, and I've got to play him. He had the big block punt, which set up a score. So just a great team win. As we move into the Southern Miss game, obviously, as we say, you know, it's the next game, it's the next home game, it's senior night, but it's also really big in the fact that, you know, we can secure the West and get ourselves in the conference championship, which has been our goal, you know, all along. You know, and as I told our team, if you look at us and then you look at Southern Miss, I think they're just sitting right behind us defensively. I know Coach Hobson, being a defensive guy, you know, basically runs that defense himself. They're very talented, you know, and they've lost some games, really just some really close games, and then they played really well last week against Marshall. Offensively, they do multiple things, playing with 2 quarterbacks right now. Both of them can throw it, and tons of motions and screens and deep throws, and tons of offensive talent, and really good in the special teams. So it will definitely be a great game, and we're going to have to play really well to win it. So, questions?
How will you handle the quarterback situation this week?
Yeah, so for us now, it's kind of back to where we were before. Let's see how AJ feels, and you know, Tyler immediately after the game was, Coach, whatever I need to do, we're going to do, and I'm just happy to be out there. And of course, AJ's saying the same thing this morning. You know, let's see how I am, and if it's Tyler, it's Tyler. You know, but I think we just got to see how AJ feels this week. We don't really know. I know he was better last week, and we didn't want to stress him on Saturday, you know, just want to see how he felt, so we didn't really try and throw it real hard, but he was there. And as I told him, from a guy who's kind of lived through that, you know, being hurt, and your backup's out there, and all of a sudden he gets hurt the first play and you're right back in there. So that's kind of the mindset he had. He was a great leader on the sideline, you know, coaching Tyler, and you know, he's going to be a coach someday, he says, so that was his chance to kind of get into that role. But we'll just kind of play it out and see, and there's no doubt he will play again for us before the year's over. But he was a lot better at the end of the week, but we just got to see, you know, who gives us the best chance to win.
When do you make a call like that? At what point during the week?
I mean, literally, it was at the end of the week last week. It could always, you know, it could be game day decision. You know, they both split reps. You know, somebody was asking me that the other week, you know, about, do you really give them both 50% of the reps? And I said, yeah, that's what you do. That's what we do. You know, I know there's people out there that give one guy 80 and another guy 20, and I mean, that's just, to me, that's not very smart. That's why how many reps you get and how you handle practice by tempo, and a lot of reps, you can get both of them pretty much equal reps. You know, and there's sometimes it may be 60-40, but we try and give our backup every single rep that the starter gets, because literally he is a play away from playing. Then it goes back to, okay, who's number 3? Because I've lived in that world where the number 3 guy had to play and win a game for us. But I think it literally could be a game-time decision.
Is this a good problem to have?
Well, it's a good problem to have a great backup. And so, I think for us, as long as both guys have great attitudes and handle it the right way and our team players, which both our guys are, then I don't think it's a problem. I think we've talked, these are the things, and like I always talk about to our guys, I'm always talking about adversity and how you handle it and what does a team player look like. And, that's daily in how we talk about things. And I tell them, I said, the only way I'm upset with you if you don't handle these situations after I've talked about it multiple times, and then you got to go get the right people. And there is a balancing act. When you're an ultimate competitor, you don't enjoy this. AJ, I know him, I know how he is, and when we got senior night coming up, he's going to want to play. So we're just going to have to see. But both of them have got the right attitude, and they want to do what's best for us to win and get to a championship game. So I like where we are with them, and then we'll just see how the week goes.
Has anything surprised you with this team, whether it's getting to this point, doing this well, maybe some position group or that's exceeded your expectations, anything like that?
Yeah, I think the defense has exceeded my expectations. And I have a high standard for the defense, but I think them really understanding. Maybe it's just all the the years of we've actually have a returning team. And it's been so long since I've had a returning team, and I think defensively a lot of times it is truly understanding what team defense looks like, and there's a mentality that goes with it of they can score on any play. And as I've said that so many times, that's not a fun world to live in, and that's why I always talk about if you look at a defensive head coach versus an offensive head coach. And I started out on the offensive side of the ball. I love scoring points. It doesn't get any better than it was Saturday, but I think there's a worry because you're always a play away or a guy falling down or a trick play or a. So I think there's two schools of thought. There's I'm going to hold my offense back, or I'm going to unleash my offense and still play great defense, which requires, I think, conversely, a good run and attack and all those other things. But I think for us defensively to kind of understand what that mentality looks like, which is they could score at any play, all the trick plays, they're holding you, they're doing, and I think our defense has embraced that. And so they, if I had one group that surprised me, I would say that group. Yeah, that's a good question. I think, we were talking about this yesterday. Coach Brigham and he was in the office yesterday, and it was, okay, what's the magic that kind of brought you to where you are? We had a foot injury. We dealt with it in the spring. It's nothing that he can't play with, but I think it took him a while to kind of see, when you're a running back, that's what you do is run. And I think just truly understanding how to plant his foot the best way. There were some times a few games back where his feet would come out from under him and some other things, and I think he just kind of went into this game saying, I'm not going to be tackled. And it looked, I told him, and I think we were both saying, this what looked like you. This was the guy, even though he's been good, this looked like Spencer, and granted you got to give the O-line and the tight ends and the receivers and a lot of people blocking, but I think back to your question, there's some things that AJ does that Tyler can't do, and there's some things Tyler does maybe a little better than AJ does. And I think we had a really good scheme that, with some really good quarterback run game and some things we had not shown that may have opened it up also for Spencer as well. But, he obviously ran the ball very well. So it was an ankle, and it was one of those things. He would have went back in and played if we'd had to have him, but, she put him in a boot and let's get him well for this one. And you know how them ankles are. Sometimes they can be like a break, so you got to give him some time off. And but he'll be ready to go.
What Southern Miss defensive coordinator sitting back going, which one's going to go? Which one's going to go?
Yeah.
You say that one does one thing well, one does another well. How much will you use it, play on that type of thing too? Because that's gamesmanship.
Sure. I think we all want to know who's. They're doing the same thing. They've got two quarterbacks. They've got a young guy who's. And when I say this is not a knock on anybody. If I say you're a runner-thrower, it means you're still a thrower. If I just said you're a runner, that would be you can't throw the ball. But he's a runner-thrower. They're a young guy. They're older guys, a thrower-runner. He's still an athlete. So they're a little bit different. And they kind of had the same deal. The starter was a little banged up, so they went with their young guy. He has a huge win. They beat Marshall. We know what kind of team Marshall has. So he did his job. Now, Coach, I think, said that he feels like the starter will be ready to go Monday. So we're in the same boat. We're both in the same boat. But, when you're talking about Charlotte with their starters in, they hadn't really moved the ball, and the young guy comes in, and here they go for 2 touchdowns right there at the end of the game. and he's throwing the ball, but his legs kind of open some of that stuff up. So I guess my point is they're going things that this guy does just a little bit better. They're going to try and play to his strengths, but there'll probably be some gamesmanship there and some from us as well.
Coach, a few weeks ago, you guys won a game that against North Texas that a lot of people were calling the biggest game in program history.
Mm-hmm.
What does it say about the maturity and focus of
Yep.
your guys to play the ones right after that?
Yes.
Like their championship game?
Yeah, and that's what a real team looks like, and I think that's one of the things I've been looking for. And I guess it just takes time to kind of get to those points. But we talk about this, and I know they get so tired of hearing it, but it's a mindset. It's not one play off, not one play in practice. No, don't relax. I don't want any distractions. Do your academics, be where you're supposed to be. I mean, that's really the world we live in anyway. But I'm proud of them because I just, I think, when I said that, when we literally came in from the North Texas game, hey, let's stay out and enjoy this because these things are so hard to come by. But when we walked in the locker room, they were very happy, but they were already talking about the next game. And I think that's maturity. That's things we talked all the way back in January, that we break it down on. I mean, we break it down on champs. And people say, maybe you're setting yourself up for failure, but I don't know how you're ever going to get anything great if you don't talk about it, hope for it, work for it. So, it's like this week, this is a great team who's got everything to play for. They're trying to get bowl eligible. They've been just a wisp away on games, and so it's going to take everything we got, and that's how we've tried to approach each week, and because I know that's the effort we're going to get from another team.
Do you mind recounting Tyler's commitment? Didn't he have a broken leg? Or?
He had a shoulder. He had a hurt shoulder. He also had I can't remember even exactly what his leg was, but he had hurt his shoulder. And we dealt with that last year. That we got it. He redid it. Coach Dr. Andrews worked on it, fixed him, and but he was Player of the Year in the state of Alabama. Obviously, had not lost a game as a starter. Of course, I was at South Alabama, and my son went to Spanish Fort with him. My daughter went to Spanish Fort, so I've known him since he was a kid. My son played with him growing up, so just know him. Obviously, having Thomas as well. We got the whole family, but that was a big deal for us to get him. To commit here and believe in our program, believe in where we're headed, and obviously I think that was a big deal. And a lot of those high school guys we were getting at that time that, the Player of the Year in the state of Alabama chose to come to UAB.
Did the injury affect? Did you guys have to take a chance? Did you know you could fix him?
Well, I think anytime you're dealing with an arm with a quarterback, it worries you. And Tyler was one of those guys that was a good thrower, and I think, just to be honest, probably took him a little while for that. I know his velocity and his arm strength probably is just now coming back to maybe some things I saw out of him, or, in his high school career before he got it hurt. Kind of like AJ, he's such a warrior. Sometimes you don't even know, and I think his throwing ability has gotten so much better this year. I mean, we were sitting, I guess Thursday, Coach Vincent and I were talking about what a great day he had throwing the ball, and then in warm-ups, Coach Vincent came in and said, wow, he is on. And so it's just fun to see him really come back from that injury and probably starting to get the full arm strength.
And what was the injury and the surgery?
It was a shoulder, shoulder and his rotator cuff. Labrum, I really be honest with you, I can't remember which one. But it was a shoulder injury in his throwing shoulder. I can't remember if it was labrum or rotator cuff. It's been so long, But we dealt with it last year, and he just never could get well. So, but finally got him now this year at full strength.
Bill, there was so much hype over the return season, but when you looked at it, did you see this season as even more important than that one to follow up a good year with a better year?
Yeah, I think that's the hardest thing is you create your own expectation level, and that was one of them things when you're going through it. Well, it couldn't be much better. Now you're like, okay. We have created an expectation, which I like. That's what I want, and that's what it takes. I think this was, are you really for real? I kept getting that question in Frisco. Well, everybody's going to be ready for you now. And I said, okay. So, and I made that statement, and I know that I didn't mean it to be arrogant, but it was basically like everybody was circling us. Okay, y'all snuck up on them, and I didn't believe that, but I said, okay, we've got a pen too, we can just circle you right back. But I think for us, I think challenges for any athlete, I think competition, I think trying to prove something is a good thing, you know, and I think that's what coaches are always doing. We're always looking for ways to motivate, you know. I mean, just the daily grind of practice and academics and study hall and coaches here 120 hours a week. I mean, I think anything that we can find is motivation. But you know, one of the big things we've said since we've been here, and that I believe in, is that we really are playing for more than ourselves. And you know, I mean, we're really established in the history of this program. So, I say the one thing we try and control is the product we put on the field. I mean, that's really about all we can do, is try and put a product out there that people are proud to come see. And we've tried to do that. You know, and here we go again this week. I mean, you know, I'll feel that same pressure. You know, of we're playing for more than ourselves. We're representing our school and our city and all the people, you know, that helped us get here. So, you know, we always want to do well.
With that in mind, with the product on the field, that's what you can control. And I think, you know, the Blazers family is going, hey, when are we going to get some respect from the polls and stuff like that? Do you, since you're not necessarily getting that the way that some might think, do you use that as any type of chip on the shoulder type thing? And do you use that type of stuff?
You never know. You know, they may hear that. But yeah, I think anything that really is true. I mean, it's really, you know, and to me, it's literally, let's see where we are when this thing's all over. You know, whether I'm motivating the other team or, you know, I just want to always be smart about, let's not give anybody else a reason to play, and let's give our guys every reason to play. And I think if we do enough, that will take care of itself. So I really don't spend a lot of time worrying. Now, what I do think about is things that help me in recruiting. So being in the top 25 does say we're legitimate. Being in the top 25 does help my program. Being number one in scoring defense right now does help my recruiting. If you're a defensive player, 600-something yards of offense does help my recruiting, which, you know, so all those things help make us a better team next year and moving forward. So, you know, that's what recruiting is a balancing act, you know, of bragging on yourself, which I cannot stand, yet you've got to put your best foot forward to go get the next set of recruits. So it's, I have other guys that do that for us.
We've got time for a couple
Well,
last questions.
another thing that would help your recruiting would be if you won, like, National Coach of the Year, and you've been nominated for that. And I don't know, growing up in this state, it's called the Bear Bryant Award. I mean, what does that mean to you, just to be nominated?
Oh, just to be nominated is what an honor. You know, I'm just, you know, and I talk about this all the time. I'm such a fan of coaches, you know, that, you know, my dad was a coach. I mean, I literally just, the things that I loved was, you know, the interaction with the players, the motivation, you know, and I think we're in a society now, it seems like everybody's trying to tear down everybody in a position of leadership, and you know, there was only one perfect one that I know of. So, but just being just the title coach, you know, when I talk to players about if you want to be a coach, that's a big responsibility. To me, it's like being called to be a pastor, you know. So getting to be thought of as a coach of the year, really, this is a team honor. It's all about the staff and what everybody, you know, this is a we thing all the way, but it's a huge honor, and just to be considered. So it means a lot.
You talked a lot about every week being a championship week. Obviously, this week's going to be more stakes with being able to clinch the West. And you hear the players echo that a whole lot too, as well. You know, they never speak about a game ahead. But I guess what is the biggest component of kind of creating that tunnel vision for these guys this year?
Yeah, I think it's a mindset of talk. I mean, we talk about it daily. I mean, and I'm constantly reminding them that you're a play away, you're a game away from being in a bad position or being and you hate to live like that. But what I try and do is, you know, and this is an old high school trick. I'm trying to talk about things before they happen. You know, this is what happens if you don't do what you're supposed to do. If you're not where you're supposed to be, and I think those are the things that keep their head screwed on. And, you know, as I say, being a coach's son, it was stay humble. You know, don't forget where you came from every day. And I try and remind those guys there's going to be plenty of people bragging on you, and but also, you know, you're a play away or a game away from being right back down here. And like I said, I don't want to be negative. It's just let's just stay in the moment. We got plenty to do, you know. And in football, as I always say, it's not a return trip. It's not a conference game. It is this game in this moment. And of course, being an old history major, I love history. You know, in football games, you keep up with all of them. You know every game. You remember it 10 years from now, 20 years from now. So we've been talking to this team a lot about what's your place in history at UAB. And so I think they're living in the moment. And once again, Southern Miss is going to come in with every reason to do the same. So, we know they're working their own scholarships. They got great coaches. So we've got to be just that much better.
It feels good. But we just have to keep going. We got a lot of games left. Hopefully 5 if we make the championship game. But it feels good. I feel good. I'm happy with the way we're playing right now. Just have to keep it going.
You heard your coach. Are those things that you heard what he said for 20 minutes? Those things get you going, everything that he's talking about, and get you fired up and ready to go?
They do. Especially when he talks about practice and how we practice and everything. That's like, practice is harder than the game. As hard as we practice, as many reps as we get. And I think that's plays a vital role in our success and the success that we're having. We practice the same way since I've been here. Even last year, the practices were harder than the games. And we prepare like that and try to stay humble and just come to work every day. I think that's the key for us.
Bill said that he talks to the team about y'all's place in history, establishing this program. What are those conversations like, and what does that mean to you guys?
He always is talking about our place in history and our team means and everything like that. But as far as the players, we don't really talk about like history and all that. We just come to work every day. Honestly, it's not like, oh, we got to make history today or like we got a big game. Da, da, da. All the games are big to us. So I think that's the difference. You know what I'm saying? We're not, I would say, we're not out there just practicing and thinking about history all day, every day. It's just how it is. How we practice is how we play.
What's Garrett like?
He's cool. He's cool. He's just Garrett. I mean, he's a great guy. He comes to work every day. He puts his best foot forward every day, and it shows up on Saturdays.
Anything else?
Marshall, there was so much talk last year about the return. There was so much hype about that. How important was it to follow up the return season, the bowl game season, with not just a good season, but a great season?
Well, looking on last year, we weren't happy about the way that the bowl game ended. So when we came back to work that January, we had our mindset on what we wanted to do this year. Although we haven't reached those goals yet because the season is still going, we still have those things on our mind. All the losses that we took, going back to Coastal Carolina, losing to Ohio in the bowl game on our first major stage, it hurt, you know what I'm saying? So we don't want to live in that world. So we understand that we have to practice hard, and it's going to show up on Saturdays. That's kind of how we attack every day, I could say.
What are your brothers saying to you via text or a phone call or something right now? They're doing their thing, but just saying what a job you guys are doing and how the season's going.
They saying good things. They always ask me how I did in the games and stuff like that. Obviously, those are my brothers, so we get more personal. You know what I'm saying? Not real political. So, but they're happy. You know what I'm saying? Obviously, we're on the up and up right now, winning all these games and everything. So, I think it's good. But that's conversations that I can't really say.
I believe just the way he coaches. He treats everybody, you know what I'm saying, fair. I wouldn't say just the same, because if you treat everybody the same, then you're shorting somebody. But he treats everybody fair, and the way we approach every day is just something you have to see for your own eyes. It's different.
What's different about it?
Someday, for some teams, you'll get on highs and lows, and then the coaches will be like, oh, you know what? We did this last time, so we're just going to take it easy on him. Every day, he's coming in wanting us to work on something new, whether it's running the ball better, throwing it better. Every day he's challenging us, so he's not letting us go down on ourselves or get too high on ourselves. It's just, you know what I'm saying, keeping us straight ahead.
Which do you prefer more, run blocking or pass blocking? And to that extent, what was it like setting a school record in rushing yards?
With me being offensive guard, I like run blocking a lot because you really get to just show your dominance. You know, you get to take, I don't know how to, you get to take another grown man and tell this grown man, all right, I'm going to move you from point A to point B, and there's nothing you can do about it. So with us rushing for 400, that really got me pumped, and I wanted to get 5, but you know, 4 was pretty good.
And what kind of cookies did Spencer bring out this morning?
He didn't bring them yet, so I don't know. Hopefully it's something good. So.
How do you think the change at quarterback, did that affect the run game? Did it open things up for you guys?
I believe we didn't miss a beat, to be honest with you. I feel like we're so close with each other. Like, I talked to Tyler and I talked to AJ, and just like nothing changed, honestly, but the names. It was just Tyler. I knew Tyler was a baller already, and he just showed it Saturday, and he showed everybody else that he was a baller. So I don't think a doubt went through any of our minds. We were just out there comfortable playing together and just having fun.
Now, Greg was behind you on the depth chart at guard, but now he's next to you on the starting line at center. How would you kind of assess his play the past couple of weeks since taking over for Lee, and you know, what's that like? You know, being next to him now, and you know, getting calls from him.
When I showed up about towards the end of 16, Greg was the center here, and I played with him, like practiced with him during that time, and I already knew Greg was good. And what surprised me was I thought coming in he was another JUCO transfer, but then it come to find out he was a freshman, you know, straight out of high school. And like, I don't know where they find these guys, but they always seem to find the humble ones. He doesn't get, you know, too high, and he doesn't get too low. He comes to work every day. If you don't know him, like I said about Spencer, he seems like a quiet guy, but you get to know him, he makes jokes, but when it's time to work, he's ready to work. So like I said, my relationship with Greg and Lee, it doesn't change because we've known each other, we've grown close to each other with our years being here, and it was just like another brother stepping in, so I really wasn't worried.
Does the quality of cookies differ from week to week? And if it does, are your expectations higher this week coming off of 400 yards?
No, they don't differ. He knows we like sugar cookies, so he sticks to the same routines and not trying to change it up, so I'm all right with that.
You mentioned about moving a guy who doesn't want to be moved from point A to point B. Did you get that sense in that game that they knew that they were being manhandled?
I felt like towards the beginning of the game, everybody wants to come out hard and violent, but at the end of the game, it's just who's going to break first. And I knew just from our previous games and everything, like the way our O-line plays, we're not going to break first. We're mentally strong and physically strong, and I think that benefits us. And we just keep going until somebody gives out.
You feel like a pee-wee game? Take you back to it? I mean, because you don't really see those type days very often.
Nah, I really didn't. They had a D tackle, number 54. I don't know his name. I knew him from last year when he played next to Davenport, and I honestly was just excited about that matchup. You know, I heard a lot about him. He gave us some problems last year, and I just wanted to prove, well, not just me, but the whole line, we just wanted to prove to everybody that, you know, get our best guys against anybody's best guys, and hopefully we come out victorious. So.
What about the fact that you guys take it personal? I mean, you guys have won 7 in a row. You put up some incredible numbers. Your defense is doing this, and you haven't broken through on the rankings. Does that mean anything to you?
honestly, to me, and I'm just speaking for me alone, I tend to not pay attention to a lot of it. So honestly, it doesn't mean a lot to me, but I know it will help the program wise and like, you know, getting players and everything. But to me, I don't think about it.
Did you hear about it at all? Do you hear guys motivate themselves with that sort of thing?
No, not really. Surprisingly not. Just in the locker room, you would think you would hear about it a lot, but somebody comes in, turns the speaker on down in the locker room, and just everybody gets to dancing. So, you know, nobody really thinks about it.
What's it like going against Garrett Marino in practice? Is he a guy that you can, as a man, move from point A to point B?
Nah, that's a struggle. That's a struggle right there. You gotta really, going against him, you gotta treat it like it's a game, you know, just a championship game at that, because, you know, he's strong, he's quick, and then he has like a bunch of different moves. So it's honestly just like chess. You gotta fill him out just like he has to fill us out. So it's fun, and I think it benefits us when we go into games too. So I'm not complaining.
Is he crazy? He seems a little crazy.
No, Garrett's not crazy. He has a lot of energy, but he's not crazy.
You talked about it like a chess game. Is that something you take in every week whenever you're kind of looking at the guy you might be blocking, or, you know, a group of guys you might have to take on?
I honestly do. It's just as an O-line, we spend a lot of time together, whether it's in the film room or just off the field. And when we know they have somebody that's supposed to be a dog on that D-line, our sole mission, honestly, is to complete the game plan, but to make him quit or make them quit. You know, we just try to take them out the game plan as much as possible to show them that, you know, you can't just walk in here and just do whatever you want to us. You're going to have to fill us.
Anything else from Malik?
Malik, considering everything that you guys have been through and all that, what would senior night be for you guys? What would that be like?
Special. But honestly, another game too. Another game to get us closer. But senior night, just seeing everybody, families come down, and we have JUCO kids from all over, so seeing different families come down from all over is going to be special, and just want to put on a show and get the W.
Do you get a sense, whether it's people in the community, people around the conference, that they view y'all differently? Like, wow, UAB's, they've gotten really good since they came back.
Yes. When I first showed up about the end of August in 2016, you really didn't hear much about UAB. You didn't see much UAB anything around here. All you seen was the Tide or whatever. And now, even from last year, now you're going to Walmart, you're starting to see banners, posters, and everything. And I just feel like we're not there yet, but we're starting to get the respect that we deserve.